Welcome to the 156th episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
So studiously paranormal.
My name is Jason. My name is Jason Knight, host of the show, and with me, as always, is
Mr. Oscar Spector,
producer extraordinaire and podcast co-host. Oscar, what has been going on since our last episode? What was our last episode? I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah.
That dude.
The Dream Man.
Yeah.
That was a kooky little episode.
The Dream Scenario guy.
Right, yeah. The movie, yeah. Dream Scenario. I really want to see Longlegs. Speaking of...
That's going to be our next review, actually. So.
Is it really? Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay.
It's out.
It's out.
It's out this weekend.
Oh, so it's not out yet?
No. I think it's out this weekend.
So we're recording on a Thursday, so it's coming out.
Are you going to the movies to see it?
You know, I would consider that.
Yeah?
I avoid the movies like the plague.
Yeah, you do.
But I would...
Meanwhile, I've gone twice this week already.
Right. You're going to go on your way home from recording.
I saw Kevin Costner's Western movie yesterday.
Oh, okay, wait. All right, we have so slow down. So let's back up 1 second. The last movies I've seen in the theater were Late Night with the Devil.
That's right. It was awesome.
Fantastic.
You saw that Despicable movie? Oh, no. That wasn't you.
Ghostbusters.
It was Ghostbusters.
Terrible.
Right.
Did not like it.
Right.
I like some of the fanfare, cool from being an '80s child, but otherwise garbage. But I would go see Longlegs for sure.
Yeah.
Faux show. Dream Scenario. Right. That was our last episode. So we're back. What's been going on? It's been about a month. What's been going on with you?
Well, it hasn't been a month since we recorded. I'll tell you that. But what I will say is that since then, the timeline shifted. Okay, guys. By the time this comes out, there's going to be other holidays that have passed. But in our time period, 4th of July just recently passed.
On this timeline, it did.
Right.
That's
so
right.
It's a recent thing that just happened. We're in. It's not even mid-July yet.
Right. Yeah.
It was last week.
Last week, basically.
Last week.
Yeah. Not basically, it was.
It was exactly last week. Because we were going to record last week, and I'm like, oh, should I still come over? And you're like, it's 4th of July, bro. You just come and hang out. I'm like, okay, fine.
You want to blow shit up and get drunk?
Right. I did not get drunk, but I would say I had fun. I had it here at Jay's place. And for the first time, I think ever, I'm not 100% because I don't remember my childhood that well, I went to a fireworks store.
Okay, so this was great. So let me just set it up a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
So we did some barbecuing.
Right.
We were doing some drinking.
Yes.
I had fireworks here. Not a ton.
I mean, to me, it was a ton, but,
Yeah, for what we usually get, it wasn't a ton. Right?
Okay.
When we were coming home from New Orleans, we stopped in Southern Illinois, and there was like a roadside vendor, this cool old dude, and we bought a bunch of fireworks, brought them back home. Then we went to a place up in Wisconsin, bought some more. But I like to kind of go back and forth with the neighbors, right? Like, who's got the better shit?
Oh, that's right.
I wanted to get all these mortars, things that open up really nice, and flowers and things. And so that's what we were doing, having fun. Kids are lighting shit off, but that wasn't enough. Oh, no. So my cousin Corey and Jenny were here, Corlando and Bonquiqui, from listeners who have been with us for years, might remember them. Corey said, we need more. So then you guys disappeared.
Right. He was like, you want to come with us? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, thinking I've been to a fireworks store. And I did. And I equally part see why people are jealous of our country and why they hate us. And why they think so little of us, too.
Explain.
No, just the general atmosphere of the people that congregated there,
what is that like? Explain that.
No, just very Midwestern, kind of like, I don't want to say bluegrass, that's not right, but like very...
Hillbilly?
Yeah, a little bit.
Really?
A little bit.
Oh, boy.
It was a very busy... It was basically a supermarket. Think of a supermarket, but with just fireworks everywhere instead of whatever. And you pick them out just like
in a
that.
Cart?
Yeah, I had a little basket because I only bought a couple of things, and it was fun. It was like buy one get one on everything, and then buy one get two on the expensive stuff. So like they were just giving the shit, like basically giving them out.
Yeah, because this is on 4th of July. They got to clear shit out.
And your cousin got like $400 worth of stuff, no problem.
Which is BOGO. So he doubled and tripled
up
in some cases. Yeah. It
was a lot. I didn't know like a lot of things. I didn't know it required ID, which makes sense. And in retrospect, like, oh yeah, there are explosives. I guess you need some sort of ID or sign a waiver. And so that was interesting. Yeah. So it was fine. Otherwise, it was my first time. It was cool. And then when we blew them up, we held our ground with your neighbors.
Absolutely.
I say.
The stuff Corey brought back, there was some intense stuff.
Mm-hmm. You guys couldn't even wait till dark.
No.
You guys were like, just wait till it gets dark. But it was getting dark like at 8:30 or 9.
That's the one day a year I don't feel like a 47-year-old. I'm back to like 12.
Right.
I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah. But we also grew up, loving that shit.
Oh,
a lot of kids don't do that no more these days.
So I remember in Bridgeport on the south side.
Yeah.
It was like it was a war zone. It was literally a fucking war zone.
Yeah.
We had Chinatown. It's right on the border of Bridgeport, and it kind of intermixes with Bridgeport quite a bit. So you had like all these Chinese dudes like running around on the ground on their bellies, launching bottle rockets at each other and at you and at neighbors' houses, and there was like a war. It was literally like a war, man. And we're talking about lines of firecrackers that go completely down the entire city block. Homemade shows that would rival something at like, Wrigley Field or Sox Park. It was amazing. So that's what I grew up around, and I just loved it. And to this day, I have no problem spending money on fireworks. Love blowing them off. Love that my kids are into it. And
I was gonna say, your kid, your youngest, who is 11, right?
Nico's 11. Yeah.
He has almost become like a rare kid in the sense that a lot of kids do not grow up with fireworks the same way.
You think
like
so?
It's being phased out a bit more. Like for them, they enjoy the parade, they enjoy other aspects, but they're usually in bed by nighttime.
Wow. No, not us.
No, not us. No. I try to find every scrap of something I can blow up.
Yes.
When I was a kid, and it was always in the alleys. We never had driveways. So
right.
This is Chicago residency, so there's no driveways. And so just an alleys everywhere. We take our bikes and we just see other people blow everything up. No matter where we go, any direction. Pick a direction, you're going to see a lot of shit.
Yeah. I used to be big in collecting the duds the next day.
Really?
So again, in Bridgeport...
You try to break them and see more?
Yes, I have a story.
Yeah.
So again, going back to Bridgeport, the next day, this war zone, it was like a treasure trove for me to find all these duds. Rockets and, shells and whatever was spent, Then a lot of these things had these bright, colorful packages, and I would just put them in garbage bags and bring them home.
Yeah.
And my dad and stuff was like, what are you doing with this shit? Get rid of it. One time I collected a bunch of duds and things that just fell to the ground, and I cracked them open, and I dumped out all of the gunpowder into a nice pile.
Mm-hmm.
My dumbass, and again, I must be my son's age, like 11, 12 years old, maybe even 10. I take a match, and I'm on my knees, and I'm looking over this little pile of gunpowder, of shit that I took out of these fireworks, and I lit a match, and I put it to that pile. Right through my face. I must have closed my eyes at the last second. It could have blinded me.
Yeah.
I had like sulfur burns on my face. I singed my eyebrows and my eyelashes. That thing that flared up must have went 2 feet over my head.
Damn.
And my face was right in it. Oh, it was great. I mean, that's what we did.
It's great.
Kids, they don't know.
Yeah. That's why the commercials in that era, the television will often ask their parents, it's 8 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Right?
Nope. Don't judge.
That's why people have to remind parents. Hey, remember, you have children. You bred a human.
I did make that choice.
Right. So before we get to your pyromaniac son of yours, I sent you 3 pictures.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, there was an accident in Chicago, a fireworks accident, where this guy had that happen to him.
Fucking shit, Oscar.
Yeah. Had that happen to him, not too far from where my brother lives, where I used to live, in the north side.
Is that all?
Yeah. It is.
Oh, this is the guy that...
The mortar, He went over to stand over it because it stopped, and he went to stand over it to see if he could relight it, and the mortar went right to his face, and
Oscar,
that's what happened.
There is no head left.
I know.
How did you get these photos?
I have a police officer friend.
So I read because, oh, fuck.
Yeah, everyone read it. Everyone's been reading it, yeah. Of course. That's what happened to him. Little fireworks, cautionary tale there, folks.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Oscar, he's got no fucking head.
I know. I don't want to shock you. That's a real one. Yeah. That's from the scene. Mm-hmm.
And you know what's really fucking crazy is I didn't see these, obviously. I saw the picture of the dude.
Right.
You know, just a normal kind of... Normal kind of skinny-looking dude, and... Holy shit.
Yeah. At least it was instant, I guess.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something... You can't even describe a picture like this.
No, you can't.
I can't believe that's the dude I read about.
Yeah. I figure you would know that story, so...
I don't think I'm going to put these... I mean, we're talking about them. There's probably people out there like, fuck, I want to see it.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't think we should. Yeah, I think that's pretty ill. No.
Yeah, this looks like it could have been your next door neighbor. The alley, the garage.
Right, exactly. It looks like so many backyards.
Yep.
Or so many alleys.
Looks like the alley we had. Mm-hmm. Wow. Way to derail the show, Oscar.
No, whoa, we're talking about fireworks and shit. It's the more appropriate. It's the only appropriate time to bring that up.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
I don't even know. There's no head. There's no head left. You see it all.
Yeah. Pretty gross.
Not going to thank you for sharing that one.
No.
I'm going to have nightmares on that one.
Maybe I'll teach you to not put gunpowder on the floor. No, okay.
But you're so... I mean, how wrong... How it could have gone so wrong.
Yeah, right.
Well, do you remember Tattoo Joe?
Yes.
He's a very... Thankfully, and he works with his hands as his job.
Yeah.
I mean, has an incredibly successful tattoo shop in Chicago. The Tat Cave. Go check him out. Kid Joe. He took one of those mortars, and he held the tube above his head.
What?
And the tube exploded.
Uh-huh.
And he lost his right hand ring finger and pinky. And they had to sew it back on. Sew that whole fucking chunk back on.
Wow.
Yep. And now that's his hand. That was his tattoo hand.
Right.
Now he's still able.
Lucky.
I mean, yeah, he does. They did a good job on him. The surgeons did a great job on him. But same thing. I mean, held that mortar above his head. Why? Don't fucking know.
Right.
And he had it on an angle, so the mortar didn't leave the tube. Fucking tube exploded. Took off those 2 fingers. Man.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. See, we don't really get fireworks that are that powerful. You know?
No.
But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
And I think it was what's called an X. There's like 1X, 2X, 3X, and they essentially shoot up like quarter, half, and full sticks of dynamite, depending on what X you get. And that's what he had, what exploded. Makes sense. I could only imagine what this poor bastard had that took his head off.
I don't know what he had. Obviously, it was illegal in that state, probably. Yeah.
I need another drink of whiskey.
Yeah.
That is...
You know, that, so, making it hopefully a little funnier now, your son, after we'd finished everything, you went into the pool, you were drunk and happy, you warmed up your pool, you went into it, you kept saying, Oscar, come in. I'm like, I don't have shorts.
And I was like, that's okay.
I always forget to bring something. And then your son comes out into the backyard. This is after we blew up all the fireworks. And you were asking me, go find fireworks. There's got to be some. And we did. We find a surprisingly amount of little things that we could still pop off and explode. Yeah. And we did. We did those. After we did those, your son took the blowtorch, whatever we were using, and started setting everything on fire.
I do remember
in the backyard.
Yeah.
So what I mean by everything, I mean like anything that was the packaging or the boxes of where the fireworks came out of, he was setting on fire. At one point, one of the chairs of lawn chairs was on fire. And I was like, I had to take it out. And like I stomped it with my foot.
Thank you.
After I did that, 20 minutes later, he's setting the remains of what I put out back on fire.
I found it the next day.
And he kept asking you, like, Dad, can I set this on fire? You're like, no. Dad, can I set this on fire? No. After like 20 times, you're like, yeah, fine, go ahead. And he just scored.
Parenting, folks.
Dude, he wears you down. He wears you down.
Yeah, I found that mess the next day.
How was the next day?
Melted to my... there was a lot to clean up.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot to clean up. The pool was fucked.
Yeah.
It took hours to clean the pool. Right,
guys. He had the pool open, right? And he kept saying, like, away from the pool, guys. I don't want anything falling into the pool. Of course, things fell into the fucking pool.
It was so bad.
One of them went so directly in it. It was nothing but comical. Yeah.
The 4th of July. God bless America.
Right. Yep. America.
All we needed was a fucking eagle fly over, man.
That's all we needed. Right.
That's funny. I've even though it was last week, like I totally forgot that happened. Like so much has happened since.
Yeah.
It just knocked it right out of my head.
I'm just saying, if he turns out to be an arsonist, we understand everything.
Give that kid a blowtorch and gunpowder. Forget it.
Right. Did he help you clean up the day after or no?
They did that night. Later that night.
Oh, later on than that.
Yeah,
okay.
like my daughter, her boyfriend, Nico, they all went out there and they took at least one big garbage bag of stuff out to the garbage can. And I guess that was enough for them. Because when I went out the next day, there was still a ton of shit.
Oh, yeah. They were like, oh, we're done. We did our due diligence.
Something.
Right.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah. That's how, kids are always like that, though. For sure.
But yeah, no, good. Because I wasn't sure what to talk about. That 4th of July. Fantastic.
Right. So if you're feeling, when this airs 3,000 years from now, I don't know when.
I'm thinking like September 1st.
September.
I'm thinking this should be September 1st.
Okay. When this airs, and you're feeling like, oh my God, I haven't felt patriotic since last 4th of July. Man, it was so long. It was only 3 months ago. Nope. We got you with stories.
Got you.
From 3 months ago. Yeah.
Wondrous. Love it. Oscar, I've got a fun one tonight. I can't wait to see what you think, what your opinion is.
Okay. I know nothing.
Tonight. Yeah, again, nothing. I didn't tell you anything. So with that said, why don't we take a quick break?
Let's do it.
Refill our little whiskeys.
Yes.
And we're back.
All right.
Listeners, welcome back to the show. Well, the lights are turned down low, the ceremonial candle is lit, and the drinks are flowing. Let's start this show. Oscar, what are we drinking here? It is a...
Whoa, you have the bottle.
It is a Calumet Farm 16-year. It's pretty good. I like it.
I like it too.
It's the Citation. It's named after a horse, a Triple Crown winning horse, Citation. And it's good, 106 proof.
Do you think the horse's kids get any of the royalties?
They should. They should. But
I know that this it smells stronger, but it is smoother when it goes down, though.
Yeah, it is really smooth. Mm-hmm. I like this. And it only had 19 barrels in this entire batch, so it was a little pricey.
Well, what's a little pricey?
It was a few hundred.
Yeah.
It was a celebratory bottle that I bought.
That's right.
I did.
It's in the outtakes.
Oh,
unless you tell me not to put it in.
It might be. Yeah,
then I won't put it.
Fine.
Okay.
Fine. So yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oscar, true or false? Educational institutions, schools, right? They're typically regarded as safe havens, right?
No, not in America.
Not in Chicago.
Not in America at all.
You know what? That's a good point.
Should I bring up Columbine in every school after that?
Yeah. Good point. They should be.
There's one going off right now.
They should be safe havens.
Right, they definitely should be.
Parents send their kids to school expecting top-notch instruction, structure, safety, and even some mild discipline when needed.
Okay.
School should really, and Katie and I, we really believe this, it should be an extension of the home, and the home an extension of the school. Parents and teachers collaborating with one another to ensure our kids grow to be well-adjusted, functioning adults with the skills needed to positively contribute to society.
Okay.
School should be far removed from tales of witchcraft, demonic possession, and paranormal assaults, right?
Assaults?
Paranormal assaults.
Okay.
Of course, this shit don't belong in schools. Goes without saying.
Well, Harry Potter's in schools.
Fair, touche.
I'm sorry, I'm going to just end this whole thing. Oh, yes, but this.
Yes, but, yeah. Goes without saying, but this is the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast, where things are never what they seem. Tonight, our story takes us down to Miami, Florida, in the late 1970s, to the Little Havana neighborhood, where a horrifying event took place at a military school called the Miami Aerospace Academy. Now, this incident, aptly referred to as the Miami Aerospace Academy incident,
it's really wordy.
Whether it's real or not, left a permanent stain on students, staff, and emergency responders who experienced it. And today, almost 45 years later, the story continues to captivate and terrify. And I want you to keep in mind that as we go through this story, there are many, many eyewitnesses that saw firsthand what happened and vouch for its authenticity. We're talking police officers, firemen, reporters, teachers, not to mention countless students. And there were even news stories written about it. Actually, I left one of those articles from the Miami News in the show notes, so listeners, make sure and check out the show notes for this episode. I left quite a few things there for you. So this event did happen. It is real. What it was, however, is open for debate.
Okay.
So, in the days leading up to Halloween 1979, something inexplicable occurred at the Miami Aerospace Academy that defied all rational explanation. Something that many consider to be the most significant paranormal event in the history of the U.S., or the largest example of mass hallucination our country has ever seen. Maybe even stranger still is that this event, whatever it was, literally came out of nowhere. And just as quickly as the insanity started, it stopped just as fast. And everything at the Miami Aerospace Academy went back to normal. Kind of.
Okay. Not knowing what this is about.
Nope,
never
no
heard
idea.
the story. I went to Miami this year for the first time ever, so that's a little interesting.
There you go, that's right.
But I definitely didn't. I wish you told me about this before. I might have sought this place out. You know, I had the nights free there.
Yeah. Ooh, Miami Nights.
Yeah. Huh.
This gets good.
I almost want to throw guesses, but that's not going to help. Continue.
Okay. Now, to understand this story, we must first understand a bit about Miami in the 1960s and 70s.
It's fucking hot.
It is fucking
That's
hot.
what I'll tell you.
Now, Miami, specifically Little Havana, where the Aerospace Academy was located, was comprised of transplants and exiles from South and Central America and the Caribbean. And these people brought with them their exotic religions and beliefs. And as a result, Miami, the Magic City, good show, by the way, had a strange allure for the devil. Ritualistic magic was commonplace in Little Havana, and it was common knowledge and strongly believed that malevolent spirits and demons could and would prey upon the weak, the misguided, and the uninitiated. This arcane information was passed from elders to the young, and in turn the young brought these beliefs into the streets and into the classrooms. One article stated that it wasn't uncommon to see little children in Little Havana playing in the streets amidst remnants of dark rituals, scattered cigar stubs, cigarette tobacco, fruit, liquor bottles, flowers, and even severed chicken heads.
And Castro pamphlets.
Oh, Castro comes into this.
Oh, no way he doesn't. In the 70s? In Miami? Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Yep.
Jeez.
Little Cuba, Little Havana.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. You don't say.
Now, keep in mind, a few years before the events at the Aerospace Academy, in 1973, a terrifying film, The Exorcist, you might have heard of it, was released and sent shivers down the spines of moviegoers. A year later, in 1974, the Sarasota Tribune reported that Miami's Jackson Memorial Hospital treated an astonishing 700 cases of supposed demonic possession every month, likely a direct result of spiritual paranoia brought on by The Exorcist.
Wow, that movie really fucked people over.
It did so much.
People up, I mean.
To the collective unconscious. Absolutely, 100%. Wow. And I'd argue it still does today. Yeah. Now, in that same year, 74, a very spooky incident occurred when a 9-year-old girl, standing in a church in Little Havana, uttered the words, "I am Satan," in a voice that observers swore wasn't her own, terrifying everybody.
Yeah.
Then in 76, yet another movie centered around a demonic child was released, The Omen. And in the same year, Stephen King's Carrie saw its theatrical release.
Yeah.
A movie about an abused and outcast high school girl with unimaginable psychic powers.
Telekinetic powers.
Yeah. Right, good. Then just a few months before the incident at the Aerospace Academy, a few months before, a wildly popular movie about a demon-possessed house splashed across the silver screens in July of 79. And you guess what that is?
The Amityville?
Amityville Horror, that's right. So it's safe to say that in the mid to late 70s into the 80s, America was in the grip of a satanic panic. And places like Little Havana, where belief in magic and the supernatural and the demonic were rooted in the very fabric of a neighborhood, the panic grip in the rest of the U.S. only added fuel to what would become one of the most mind-boggling and downright bizarre episodes in American education history. Now, so you know, and you could probably imagine, there's a ton of unanswered questions when it comes to what actually happened at the Miami Aerospace Academy on October 25th, 1979. So just a few days before Halloween, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to solve anything in this episode, but what we do know is that violence, desperation, black magic, and an exiled headmaster obsessed with power all mixed together into kind of this gumbo and formed this perfect storm, a paranormal explosion of epic proportions. So let's get into it. Let's get into what happened, and then we'll talk more about some of the factors that might have contributed to this insane school day. All right, so at approximately 8:30 in the morning on October 25th, 1979, at the Miami Aerospace Academy, a female student suddenly jumped up from her desk in sheer terror and bolted out of her classroom and ran screaming down the hall to the girls' bathroom. A small group of her friends followed after the girl and chased her into that bathroom, worried that, for their friend's safety and well-being. Now, once in the girls' bathroom, the group encountered their friend in complete hysterics, thrashing around on the bathroom floor while shouting over and over, "The devil is inside me, the devil is inside me." And as if this spectacle wasn't creepy enough, to the group's absolute horror, their friend levitated, just lifted right up off the bathroom floor. Now, while this nightmare is unfolding in this girl's bathroom, in a completely different part of the school, in a completely different classroom, two male cadets, or students, remember this is a military academy, so students are cadets. Two male cadets suddenly jumped up from their desks and started beating the shit out of each other for absolutely no apparent reason.
Like they weren't friends or anything?
Well, they were. That's what kind of...
But they were friends, not rivals, I guess.
Weren't rivals.
Okay.
Witnesses claim the boys tossed each other around the classroom with what was described as superhuman strength. And one cadet was actually thrown out of the classroom's second-story window, and he plummeted to the concrete ground below.
Wow.
Now, unbelievably, this kid got up completely unscathed, and when the teacher grabbed him to see if he was okay, the teacher said that the kid's eyes were glowing red and that he was growling like a wild animal. The kid said, "Leave me alone," in a voice that wasn't his own, and he tossed this teacher like a rag doll, and then the kid just ran off. Now, by this time, news of the levitating girl in the bathroom and this kid that fell out of the window with glowing red eyes, growling, tore through the school like wildfire. And that was it. From there, this mass, I don't know what it was, mass possession, mass hallucination, ripped through the school like a tidal wave. Cadets, both male and female, ran through the halls, screaming, growling, destroying property, and witnesses claim literally ripping classroom doors off their hinges in just terrifying displays of superhuman strength. Other students crawled through the hallways on all fours, like hellhounds, it was described, while others convulsed and thrashed on the floor as if overtaken and possessed by unseen forces. Students that weren't affected by this terrifying phenomenon ran from their classmates in pure terror, from people who, just a short while before, were their friends.
Right, they were acting normal.
Yep, it was pure pandemonium.
Teachers were affected too?
No.
Oh.
No, this just affected the students.
Okay.
Now, the police were called. Cops, paramedics, firemen rushed to the scene. Emergency personnel said the scene was completely chaotic, and they likened it to a riot. They said it was apparent that a lot of the kids were trying to get away from something, and that they seemed to be terrified of their fellow classmates. Reports said that kids were making wild animal noises and gnashing their teeth. Others ran around, thrashing violently, and kids who were once friends were now acting more like predators and prey.
Mm-hmm. It became like survival of the fittest, jungle style kind of thing.
Like it's almost like Lord of the Flies.
Maybe that
reminds
too.
Me a little bit. And those who weren't affected by whatever this was begged the police and firemen to protect them from their classmates. When students were asked who started the riot, multiple students responded simply, "The devil." Others said they didn't know, it just happened. The chaos started around 8:30 in the morning, and by about noon that day, the affected kids snapped out of it. And just like that, the devil exited the Miami Aerospace Academy, leaving behind a lot more questions than answers, and a neighborhood already primed to believe in the supernatural, terrified.
Okay, so first of all, when you were describing the red eyes and even the walking, reminded me of like these kids affected by Zool? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like Ghostbusters, the first one.
Or like Reagan McNeil crawling on the ground.
Reagan McNeil. I also think of like what's his name? Gallo, the Italian horror filmmaker, did movies like Demons with the eyes. He would focus a lot on the eyes and stuff. He did a lot of movies. Italian horror. It's the Argento era. In the 70s, actually. In 60s, 70s to the 80s. Okay. So he might have made a few movies that look like this a little bit. Interesting. So it reminds me of that. Also reminds me of like The Faculty a little bit, but reverse it. Instead of the teachers, it's the students.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that movie, The Faculty.
I always like that movie. Yeah, it's it doesn't make sense, but it's good. When does class start at 8:30?
That I don't know.
Okay.
They were already in class, sitting down.
Yeah, it's military, so they probably start even earlier.
Oh, good point.
You're right.
Good point. Yeah, I didn't see that information.
Because for me, it was like 9, when I was at school. Okay. I immediately started to think of like, what could be reasons that isn't supernatural, right? That might be going on here. The first one is a hoax. Hard to pull off. Hard to be a hoax.
Hard to fall out of a second-story window.
And be okay.
Right.
Like, okay. Like
he was fine.
Like, super
okay.
They
said he was unscathed.
I mean, I used to jump off the garage roof of my house all the time.
Oh, well.
But that's not 2 floors, 1 floor. Or one. No, I guess it is one change. You're right.
Landed in grass, yeah. No, this was I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
It gets there's some possible explanations here.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the power of suggestion of some kind.
Yes.
There have to be some sort of at least cursory study of Cuban. I don't say Cuban specifically because most of them are Catholic. Most of them they follow pretty much what we follow here. You know, it's a hop skip. Cuba's 90 miles away from us.
But there is that deep-rooted belief in
right. But there's also other stuff. Yes, 100%. I was trying to think of some sort of suggestive thing. Maybe if we studied their customs or their religion or whatever branch of the religion they're doing, we can surmise that maybe this date is significant in some way, or someone religiously meaningful to them died, or the opposite, something negative or an omen of some kind was sprouted in some way that led them to have that power of suggestion act out. But these are kids. What's the age group?
So this is an academy that covers from the young to high school,
elementary to high school,
age.
Like that far.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
wow.
because there's talk of one kid who was 9 years old.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also like senior age, so at 18, 19.
Yeah, seemingly to affect everyone equally or not equally, like it was.
Yeah, it seemed to. That's a good question too. None of the articles really break it down by students' age necessarily.
I figured I would do immediately statistics, like were most of them in high school age, which makes you think like is puberty attached to this in some way? Like post-puberty era is when you're more affected.
There's your Carrie White from
Carrie White. That's a perfect one. The very opening scene, she gets her period.
Right, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah,
yeah. I never really. I mean, there's kids that they interviewed. There's certain kids that they talk about.
Right.
They seem to be older, like your junior, senior.
Yeah.
But something bad happened to this night.
And then also I would try to limit down, were they all Cuban specifically, or were they a mixed bag?
And that's what makes it so interesting too. There were so many eyewitnesses to this, news stories about it.
Yeah.
Something happened, but there was never really
follow-up?
As far as I could find, any in-depth research into this.
Yeah.
It was either, yep, this is what it was, move on. School's gone, well, spoiler. Everything's done, it's gone, it's closed.
Spoiler.
Everyone forgot about it, basically. No one knows about it. Like, everyone forgot about this.
I definitely never heard about it.
And I'll talk about it later. There's a Facebook page. Again, check the show notes. I put a link to this Facebook page of the Miami Aerospace Academy alum. And no one on that fucking page talks about it. It's like it never happened.
They talk around it.
It's the strangest. Yeah, there was, and again, listeners, you can see this on the Facebook page. There was a reporter kind of sniffing around in this group and asking people, and the people get so defensive. Why would you bring that up? It's all bullshit, blah, 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 move on. Find something better to do with reporting, report on something real. They flat out deny it.
Do you think this is a 70s thing?
I mean,
or, because...
they say, these group of people who inhabited Little Havana during that time were primed to believe. Dude, America was primed to believe at that time in this stuff.
Well, were we?
Sure, for all the reasons I quoted. Your Exorcist, your...
you're right.
Satanic Panic. Let's just call it generally the Satanic Panic. Movies and things.
Yeah.
America was primed to believe too, I think. I don't want to give away any...
Right, no, right. Okay, keep going, Lynn.
Okay. With me so far? Interested?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the October 26, 1979 Miami News. Headline: Police baffled by kids' Ouija riot. The article reads in part, quote, "The mass hysteria that drove students temporarily berserk at a military-style private school on West Flagler Street began when several students playing with the Ouija board suddenly felt that a spirit took it over," a teacher said today. "Everybody just got carried away, and it was a riot," the teacher, Ileana Visidio, told the Miami News. "There were girls crying and screaming that there was a spirit inside the Ouija board." Police said that they were baffled by the outbreak yesterday at the Miami Aerospace Academy, which they said led to mass hysteria that had students kicking walls, tearing at doors, talking of witches, and screaming about demons. "The whole school went berserk," said Miami police officer Harry Cunnell, end quote. Now I'm jumping to another part of the article here. Quote, One student, Jose Navarro, 13, a 7th grader, said that during the commotion yesterday, everybody felt weak. Me and my friends made a cross. He said that students felt that a demon or something was around. The article continues, quote, another student, who refused to give her name, said that students sometimes play a game in which they chant, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, in a dark bathroom. All sorts of things happen, she said, end quote. Then the article goes on to quote a fireman, talking about students lying on the floor in a hysterical state. And it also mentions a hypnosis session going on in a 10th grade science class. And that could have been the catalyst to this whole infernal ordeal. Very interesting. Now, of course, this is out of the article now. This is me. This is my story now. Out of the article, of course, the Academy denied any hypnosis session was going on right before the event. And the Academy's headmaster, its owner, the strange, power-hungry man I mentioned earlier, although not by name, a man named Evaristo Marina, or El General, he claimed the whole event was politically motivated, that his critics set up the whole thing to embarrass him and ruin any chance he had at a political career in Miami. So what was it? Was it a mass hallucination brought on by a hypnosis session gone wrong? Was it El General's critics trying to sabotage his political career? Did Ouija spirits overtake the students? Or did the devil himself pay a short visit to the Miami Aerospace Academy back in October 79? Like I said earlier, we'll never know what was at the root. But again, this did happen. This really happened. So let's take a look at a few things. First, let's dig a lot deeper into the head of the Miami Aerospace Academy, Headmaster Evaristo Marina, El General. Because there's a lot to this guy. Now, Evaristo, like most Little Havana at the time, he was a Cuban exile. And the general's goal was to make it big in politics here in the States. just like a lot of Cuban exiles who at one time held prominent positions in Cuba, lawyers, doctors, police officers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
When they got here to America, that shit didn't matter.
No.
So you had these former lawyers and doctors, whatever, working as busboys and manual laborers once they got to America. And Evaristo was no different. You see, in Cuba, President Fulgencio Batista appointed Evaristo the General Director of Public Order. So here we have Evaristo, in his 20s, being in charge of Cuba's nightclubs, casinos, and the police force over there in Cuba. Quite a life for a young man, right?
Yeah.
Money, women, clout, and a very real sense of power and authority. Unfortunately, though, disaster loomed. You see, Evaristo also earned a law degree at the University of Havana, where he often found himself in heated debates over Marxism with a fellow student named Fidel Castro.
You don't say.
Now, when Castro formed a revolutionary group that would successfully overthrow Batista's government, Evaristo Marina became a target. It's said that Castro even had a bounty on Marina's head. So in 1959, Evaristo fled Cuba to the U.S. with an intense, burning desire to rise to power, like a phoenix from the ashes.
Right.
And he carried with him the ambition of someone who had lost something huge. And he did. Now again, like many immigrants, Evaristo discovered that his past position and clout in Cuba meant fuck all here in the States.
Yep.
And he was forced to take up odd jobs, starting as a busboy and later waiting tables at Miami's upscale Biltmore Hotel. There, he served dinner to fellow Cuban politicians seeking refuge, a group known as the Cuban Rotary Club of Exiles. When Evaristo's shifts would end, he would shed his apron and join in on political discussions. Even as a 25-year-old waiter, Evaristo proudly declaimed his aspiration to someday become Miami's mayor. However, he could only secure a coaching position for soccer at the Florida Air Force Academy in Melbourne, associated with the U.S. Army's Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC. People know it as ROTC. Now, it was during this low point of waiting tables and longing for the grandeur he once had that Evaristo had an idea and saw an opportunity to establish a specialized school that would combine Cuban discipline with American military values. To fund his idea, Evaristo started a beverage company called Iron Beer Soft Drinks, likely inspired by a popular Cuban soda with the same name, Iron Beer. To gain credibility, he joined the Civil Air Patrol, which is like an auxiliary of the United States Air Force, and he rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel, but never to rank of general, although he would insist his cadets and staff refer to him as El General, the general, right? In 1968, Evaristo sold his beverage company and used those profits to establish his academy. And he specifically, strategically, chose the name Aerospace Academy to evoke images of spaceships and astronauts, a concept that resonated with the space-crazed culture of America at the time. And he targeted traditional Hispanic parents with his marketing efforts. Evaristo emphasized his belief in the importance of command authority, and he revoked any kind of vice, saying that since he didn't smoke or drink, his cadets wouldn't either, which resonated with neighborhood parents. Evaristo, if anything, was really a great marketer, and his only unfortunate vice was his thirst for power.
Right.
So in 1968, the Miami Aerospace Academy opened its doors. Now, at first, attendance was low. His neighborhood parents couldn't afford the $65 a month tuition, which is about $452 in today's money, but it wasn't uncommon for Evaristo to pay for kids' tuition out of his own pocket. He ran commercials for the academy in South America. He even pulled kids out of juvenile detention centers, the quote-unquote bad kids, and changed their names so neighborhood parents wouldn't know the kind of kids their kids were being mixed up with. Get the bodies in, act like enrollment is up, attract more students. It was a ploy. Now, it remains a mystery how he was able to do this, but Evaristo even managed to somehow get a decommissioned U.S. Air Force F-84 fighter jet, a supersonic aircraft that at one time ripped through the Korean skies, and he navigated it through the streets of Miami during rush hour in 1972. During the jet's commute, it damaged several palm trees and scratched parked cars.
You don't say.
And Evaristo mounted that jet right on top of the entrance to his academy, effectively attracting military-obsessed boys and their fascinated fathers.
Wow.
As a side note, later on, cadets would insist that this F-84 was cursed, haunted by the tormented soul of a pilot burned alive during battle. Wow. Now, cursed jet aside, before you knew it, the academy was chock full of students, both male and female, kindergarten through 12th grade.
There you go.
With some students paying up to $6,000 a year, or about $52,000 in today's money. Needless to say, Evaristo and his method of teaching and discipline became a hot commodity for parents in Little Havana.
Right.
Now, like all our stories, I did a ton of research for this story. And all I can say is that the school was strange. It's really hard to put a finger on whether or not it was a good place or it was a bad place. On one hand, you got past students claiming that this was the best place in the world, and they credit the Aerospace Academy and Evaristo Marina for saving their lives, for setting them on the right career path, and for doling out the discipline they desperately needed. And on the other hand, you have people saying the academy was the worst place in the world. They claim that cadets were oppressed by the institution, and that they were in constant fear of their teachers and of Evaristo himself, never knowing when a cricket bat would be used across their asses for the slightest infraction.
Wow.
Evaristo implemented forced haircuts, uniforms, lots of marching, physical abuse, fear, paranoia, all the ingredients for breaking down the body, which in turn would break down the mind. Brainwashing, reprogramming, total control. There are even rumors of sexual abuse. Just an incredibly negative environment. To some. Right now, as I mentioned, there's a Facebook page called Miami Aerospace Academy 1968 to 1978. Okay. And you can see Academy alums talking about their experiences at the school. And honestly, what they say, it's all over the board. Interestingly though, they say very little about that day the devil supposedly took over their school back in October 79. And again, I left a link to the Aerospace alum Facebook page in the show notes. Check it out for yourselves and see what you think. Now, as for the teachers under Evaristo's employ, I read that he didn't even hire accredited teachers. Instead, he
ever or in general?
In general.
Okay.
Because he hired non-accredited teachers, quote-unquote teachers, so he could better control them. Evaristo called these people his colonels and majors, and they wound up being more like his henchmen and henchwomen, doling out harsh punishments to cadets at whim. When questioned about his hiring practices, Evaristo expressed his reservations about bringing in actual certified teachers from the state of Florida, claiming that they might be homosexual. An idea that deeply infuriated him.
Yeah.
He made it clear in his school that the mission is to help students combat communism, drugs, and what he referred to as homosexualism. Evaristo even went as far as installing microphones in the school bathrooms.
Wow.
And conducting inspections every 5 minutes to ensure no homosexualism, it's not even a word, I don't think, was going down in his bathrooms. That's how serious he was about this stuff.
That's crazy. That is a serious way to hate.
Right? Yeah. And please, I'm not saying that every teacher at the Miami Aerospace Academy was bad or that they were abusing cadets, because they weren't.
Right.
A lot of kids and their families actually loved the academy, with some students going on to join the military. Some became doctors and lawyers. One became a respected journalist, and one actually joined the space industry. All I'm saying is that most of the stories I've read really emphasize the callousness of the staff and the abuse, and Evaristo's insatiable thirst for power. One former cadet compared the power-hungry headmaster to former U.S. President Donald Trump and his unquenchable thirst for power and control. Take that how you will.
Right.
That's the cadet's thought, not mine. It was even whispered among the cadets that Evaristo Marina was a practicing santero, a male practitioner of Santeria, and many accused him of practicing black magic to try and conjure his way into political power. It was reported that on occasion, students found dead chickens and other symbols of ceremonial magic lying around campus.
Like on the outside and the inside? Oh, we don't know that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just around campus, it said. Was this the proof that Evaristo was practicing some sort of black magic to force his way into Miami politics? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Some of this feels kind of like also Haitian, like that voodoo stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Chicken bones, you think? Chicken bones were used a lot, at least.
Voodoo in general?
Like they're part of it in the cultural zeitgeist. I don't know if it's actually true. Don't know for sure. Think of witch doctors, you know, from that land in that era. Not just Haiti, mind you, but South
Serpent
America.
And the Rainbow.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like that.
Now, whatever was happening with ceremonial magic and dead chickens, it didn't work. Because when Evaristo ran for Miami City Commissioner in 1972, and in the process diverted Academy profits to pay for his campaign, Evaristo ultimately failed. And as a result, the Miami Aerospace Academy was forced to file bankruptcy in 1973, although it continued to operate for several more years.
Right.
Actually, Evaristo would launch many failed attempts at a political career, and with each attempt, his money and his attention were diverted further and further away from the Academy and away from upholding the Academy's mission of cadet betterment. Instead, we have reports of physical and sexual abuse, a frightened and repressed cadet population, a power-hungry headmaster that may be practicing black magic, and there's rampant mismanagement and lack of funds. We're in a bad situation here. A powder keg, some might say. Just to give you an idea of where Evaristo's mind was immediately after the explosive incident in October 1979, when he was questioned by reporters, Evaristo, dressed in pristine white, which is eerily reminiscent of how Santeros dress, by the way. When questioned, he vehemently refuted any notion of supernatural involvement in the riot, dismissing the claims with an air of annoyance, and he said, quote, "Such matters have no place within these walls." His genuine concern, however, seemed to stem not from the welfare of the children in his charge, but from the potential impact on his political aspirations. Paranoia tinged Evaristo's words as he spoke about the event. Quote, "Someone has manipulated the children, a calculated ploy in the final week before the election to undermine me." Over time and from years of neglect, the grim reality of the Miami Aerospace Academy school building were finally laid bare. An investigative expose by the Miami Herald unveiled a shocking truth. The Miami Aerospace Academy existed within a realm untethered by regulation, unburdened by licensing, bereft of accreditation, and devoid of supervision. Two city investigators ventured inside the Academy's decaying walls, and what they discovered was a landscape of abject squalor. For example, children resorted to bathing in bathtubs tainted by the repugnant presence of backed-up feces. There was rampant accusations of abuse and rape. One female cadet claimed she became pregnant as a result of being raped, and one cadet died by drug overdose. It was discovered that one teacher, quote-unquote, was a proud member of the Nazi Party, and a student, whose name was changed, was discovered to be a convicted murderer.
What?
Turns out a boy named Clarence Carr, who had been convicted 10 years probation for shooting his father in the head 3 times while he slept, instead of the judge sentencing the kid to an official correctional facility, Carr was instead sent to the Miami Aerospace Academy, where his tuition was paid by a mysterious Hungarian benefactor.
What?
Go figure. And Clarence Carr was a chief bully at the academy, along with a number of other students, and he would be charged with sexual assault, including that of an innocent 6-year-old boy. And really, it's because of this Miami Herald expose and the disgusting things it uncovered that the Miami Aerospace Academy ultimately closed its doors in August 1988.
Wow, that's a long time from that point, though, from the incident and today.
Now, ultimately, Evaristo Marina El General died in 2009 at the age of 79, having never realized his political aspirations, except for a brief position as the head of Miami-Dade Fire Board. And his arch-nemesis, Fidel Castro, lived for another 7 years.
Yep.
Castro died in November 2016. Evaristo was buried with a folded Aerospace Academy flag, and he will be remembered as El General. So what the hell happened here? Remember, there were tons of witnesses to this mass chaos event, including police, paramedics, firemen, members of the press. Here's where it really gets weird. Up until now, you unfortunately have a story that's been heard before. A strict school, questionable management, troubled kids, corporal punishment that kind of pushes the envelope. What's different about the Miami Aerospace Academy is apparently the teachers introduced the cadets to the occult. Like taught occult practices in class without anyone's permission. And again, it's rumored that El General himself practiced black magic. The theory is cadets began using stuff they learned in class. The Ouija board, tarot cards, pendulums, and other vessels of the occult as a means of coping with and escaping the daily drudge of academy life. The students yearned to escape from the torment, and to do so, they sought solace in the realms of the supernatural and the occult. Just to give you an idea of how ingrained the occult, the cadets were, check out the show notes and take a look at the Academy's 1979 yearbook cover. That'll show you how into the stuff they are. The yearbook cover is jet black, and it's adorned with a foreboding 12-pointed star encircled by astrological signs and this other arcane symbology. It's crazy, and it really gives you insight into what the students were thinking and feeling back in 79 when this happened. Take a look. It's crazy. Like, that's their yearbook. So think about it. We have this intensely negative environment. You have a cadet populace that came from very religious, superstitious backgrounds. The cadets themselves are oppressed. They're angry. There's a lot of pent-up fear and rage from being abused. Now you add this occult ingredient, and you quite possibly have a recipe for disaster. Were the cadets at the Miami Aerospace Academy unknowingly weaponizing themselves, using the school's negative atmosphere and the occult to revolt against their oppressors? And don't forget, this shit hit the fan on October 25th, less than a week from Halloween, a time of the year that ancient Celts believed the veil between our world and the spirit world was the thinnest.
Right.
Is that a coincidence? Did the cadets somehow punch a hole through that veil? Or did they open a portal, and as a result, negative entities poured through and temporarily took up residence inside willing cadets? A voluntary or involuntary mass possession? Or was this an instance of mass hallucination? In a Discovery Plus documentary I watched called The Devil's Academy, a documentary about the Miami Aerospace Academy incident, it was explained that on the night of October 24th, so the night before the incident, a bunch of Aerospace Academy cadets got together for a house party. There's all these kids who share same trauma, have very similar backgrounds and spiritual upbringings, beliefs,
right,
and they're all pretty much in the same mindset. Now, at some point during the night at that party, the kids start messing with occult stuff. Now, sidebar, I've done this shit too when I was a kid. At, group sleepovers and stuff.
Yeah.
Fucking outpops that Ouija board. We're doing stiff as a board, light as a feather. We're telling ghost stories, right? So I get it. So at some point during the night, the kids start messing with this occult stuff. Some are conducting seances. Some are doing the Ouija board. Others are doing tarot. Girls are in the bathroom. They're trying to fucking do Bloody Mary, which I've never done, by the way, to this day. It's said that as the night wore on, the kids started behaving really strange, acting paranoid, afraid of their own shadows, and they even began physically fighting with each other for no apparent reason. It's like something was building, taking hold. But what was it? By the morning of October 25th, 1979, the day of, the recipe was in place for shit to go down. You got these kids who are not okay, who've been regularly messing with the occult, and you have the intense events from the night before at the party. The kids go to class on the 25th, still freaked out from the previous night, and as the story goes, a teacher overhears how freaked out the kids are So she decides she's going to try and hypnotize some of those students in an effort to calm them, including one of the girls that played Bloody Mary in the bathroom at the house party the night before.
Okay.
Now everyone's already in this susceptible state of mind. They're ready to believe. They believe. And this teacher tries digging into the psyche of an already traumatized teenage girl. Now, mind you, the teacher, she's not a licensed hypnotherapist, likely not even a licensed teacher.
Right.
This girl freaks out, thinks she's under attack by demons, bolts to the bathroom, followed by a group of her concerned friends. She falls to the floor, screams that the devil's inside her. Her friends claim she levitates, and from there, everyone suffers a temporary mass hallucination. So in this case, it's not actual portals and demons, but rather the power of suggestion impressed upon susceptible minds that are ripe to believe demonic possession is not only real, it's happening. After all, it is a long-held belief that quote-unquote demonic possession can yield strategic advantages, serving as a means for individuals with little power, in this case, angry, suppressed students, cadets, to indirectly protest against their circumstances and the powers that be, while engaging in behaviors that would be wholly unacceptable under normal circumstances. In this case, running through the halls, destroying property, being violent, snarling, fighting, and acting like literal possessed animals. In this context, it wasn't spirits or the devil, it was the Miami Aerospace Academy cadets, on a subconscious level, revolting and expressing their extreme discontent towards an oppressive regime that was exerting total control over them. Mix in some deep-rooted old-world beliefs and elements of the occult, and boom, perfect storm.
So it almost feels like it's a combination of factors. Now, the school was in disarray before the event.
Yes.
Right. It's already been for it's like 6 years already.
It was in bankruptcy for a very long time.
Right.
Because it claimed bankruptcy before this event.
It took so long for it to go down, by the way.
I guess things are different back then. I don't know.
So. I don't know.
Maybe
and this is a paid school.
Tuition, yeah.
Right. There's a tuition.
Maybe Evaristo knew the right people. Back then, you could shake a hand, make a promise.
That's true.
Sign a piece of paper. Yeah,
that's why so many killers got away with stuff, too. You know, it's just so much easier.
Shit back then, yeah.
So, it almost feels like this is like some sort of giant prank, almost, or not a prank. That's maybe like a hybrid between a prank and like a call to action against El General, or maybe not even against El General specifically, but the school they're in. That they must notice it's in shambles. They must know how terrible it is. They must know these teachers are awful, terrible, they're really weird. And they must know that their other students, friends of theirs, are getting either raped or molested or beaten up, or they're doing it, right? Like, it can't be great. For years, they must know this. Imagine growing up in there from K to 12 in there. There's enough of time in there for a couple of students to be that far in, right? Now, combine that with the event of 1979, I'm thinking it could be. You put some drugs in here too. That could work.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that it's like it's almost like their version of resisting.
Right.
Resisting the institution that they're stuck in, that they're
fight
paying.
The power, man.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that, but they have like actual grievances. The grievances being that the school fucking sucks. They're treating us terrible. They probably wouldn't say it like that, but they would just say, "Fuck this place, fucking General. Fuck you, teachers," and why not use the only thing that they know is like
weaponize the occult.
Weaponize the occult, which is what they were taught there. Why were they taught this?
Yeah,
we don't know this. I know, but
we don't know this. It's such a weird thing.
So,
but and it's not bullshit because the fucking yearbook is occult.
It's like
image,
a gothic thing, yeah.
I wish I could pull it up. I'll lose my spots in my story.
No, it's fine.
I'll show you. You and listeners, again, go to the show notes. Look at this cover of the yearbook. The cover of my yearbook. One of the students drew because it was a Catholic school. They drew some like Roman scene from back in the Roman times.
Oh, really?
Some really cool. That's what we had. You know?
Yeah.
This, if you see it, at first jet black.
I mean, that's really rare. You don't see that ever.
And it looks like the symbol is.
It looks like My Chemical Romance in there.
Yeah, it's the strangest thing. So there was occult shit going down. That's the evidence right there.
Yeah.
Why teachers were doing? And again, I don't want to slander all the teachers at this place.
First of all, fuck them. They're not there anymore. They're mostly dead now. It's okay.
Well, I don't know if they're mostly dead. It's only 79, but still.
You're right. Not everyone's terrible, I'm sure. But, we don't know. Obviously, the good ones didn't win out.
Right. You're right. All you hear is about is the bad. Good point.
Yeah. So that's a very curious question. There's no way to dig into that. But I'm curious, why? Why that?
Yeah.
Why? How? How and why? Almost feels like a joke.
So I could tell you, So when I was in high school, I was into this shit, man. There was a couple of us who, after school, would do a Ouija board in the halls of my Catholic high school. Okay. And
in the halls, not like the library and the table.
Just, the halls clear out. We sit down. We bust out this Ouija board. This is fucking totally true. And one time, one of the brothers, Galden, I think it was Galden. I forgot his last name. Damn it, that's terrible. He came up to us and he's like, fuck you doing? And, then he...
What are you doing there, buddy?
He sat with us and he talked to us about this stuff. And we got into some really good conversations and we kind of grew a relationship from there,
Okay.
So we did do shit like this in school. In a Catholic school, we were doing this.
I mean...
not every day.
I mean, if it was going to happen somewhere in a Catholic school, kind of makes sense. Don't you think?
I don't know.
Because they would that stuff, maybe not believe it, but also believe it.
Yeah.
More likely than a public school.
I think it was the we were doing something. This is dangerous.
Yeah, but that's your version of dangerous is Catholic because it connects to Catholicism.
Sure.
Like a dangerous version of that in a public school is getting your girlfriend pregnant, or doing drugs, or joining a gang. Well, this is my case, of course. This is how I grew up in my school. That's what was happening. But I remember I did both. I did both Catholic high school and regular public school.
Yeah.
That could, that's the differences. Like the bad boy in you in a Catholic school is bringing out the Ouija board. So maybe it's not so.
There was some other shit, but
I'm sure
that was the
yeah. Maybe it's not so out of bounds.
I guess my point is just right. It's not so out of bounds because we did it.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to mention too about mass hallucination or mass something. At these sleepovers we would have when we were, and this is in grammar school.
Okay.
We would do the whole stiff as a board, light as a feather thing.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, listeners, Oscar, on a Holy Bible, that shit works.
Yeah.
That fucking shit works. We took this kid, Chris... I probably shouldn't say his last name. Fuck him. I am Chris Moda, Chinese kid, big dude. He was a big kid.
Yeah.
Not skinny by any means.
Yeah.
Large child. And we did the stiff as a board thing, light as a feather.
Yeah.
There were people at his shoulders, people at his hips, and people at his ankles on each side, right?
Yeah.
And you chant the whole stiff as a board, light as a feather thing, and we lifted that fat fuck up.
Yeah.
It really fucking worked.
With 2 fingers?
2 fingers.
Yeah. Wow.
So
That's cool.
What's happening there? Is that a whole group?
So
it's not hallucination, or was it? Did it really happen?
So here's my question. I was going to bring that up too. Like, what is a mass hallucination? Like, is there documented stuff on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can you give me an example that maybe everyone knows?
Fatima, Medjugorje, where visions of Mary came to tons of people, multiple people.
Okay, yeah, that does happen in history.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I actually want to do an episode on those.
What kind of
visions?
How do you explain that? How do people that obviously don't believe in this explain that away?
You can't. What is a mass? Then you get into the crux of what is a mass hallucination.
What is it? Well, then that's what I'm asking you. What is a mass hallucination? Did they all drink the bad water? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it's.
You know what I'm saying?
It's so
like
interesting.
When you go to what's that really famous California hippie concert thing people go to? Coachella. When you go to Coachella, Joshua Tree, it makes sense. They're all taking a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
I think it's a prerequisite to going in there.
Yeah.
Based on, I met a few people that go there almost annually.
Wow.
And yes, they look exactly like the way you think they would look. Like, it's so uncanny how dead on they are. Anyway, and I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not as surprised. Obviously, maybe I shouldn't be if a mass of people that are, I don't want to say hardcore, religious believers, but let's just say religious believers can have a mass hallucination of the Virgin Mary in the same capacity as all these people are fucking tripping at Joshua Tree, and a lot of them might trip on the same thing when they're watching the same light show, right? Makes sense. I guess I can correlate those two things. What is going on in the school? I think I might be down for that being an explanation, considering these kids all grow up Catholic as fuck. South America is Catholic as fuck, people. You don't bring your atheism down there. Don't get me wrong, nowadays they're not gonna kick you out or anything, but they're not gonna like you. And they might even tell you. That's just the way it is.
Well, didn't your parents have an issue with you for years and years because you're not Catholic?
Well, they don't know that.
Oh, I thought they did and they hated it.
Nah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's okay.
Never mind, move on. Sorry.
No, you're fine. They don't listen to the show. I hope not. Yeah, but there's at the very least, some like nothing. I'm super lapsed. But yeah, they would have a problem with that though. Yeah. So I guess I can buy that as a reason. But my first thinking was like, I was going down Giraffe, like, is it some sort of like a renegade thing? Like they're boycotting this thing, not officially, not like the French do, but like hating on this thing, like a hardcore version, a metal version even of like hating on their school and shit because of what's going on. But no, I mean, I'm trying to buy that, and I don't buy it.
Well, that's the other thing, too, about that theory is that, and it's a good theory, just as good as any, if you read the Facebook page, you don't get that feeling. That it was so bad where the kids had to, whether consciously or unconsciously, weaponize themselves with the occult, and then it just exploded. You don't get that
Well, people
feeling.
wear rose-colored glasses when decades pass. Oh, you know that.
That's interesting.
And also, like, again, it's because it's the 70s, because it's Florida, and because it's like, I don't know how the teachers were demographically speaking, but they must be from the area.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Let's just say they are. Combine all that, yeah, they're not gonna talk about it. They're gonna be like a World War II dad coming home from the war and never telling you a single goddamn thing that happened to him over the war for his whole life. It's gonna be like that. I'm not surprised by that. People try hard to forget shit like that.
That's a good. Yeah, you got a point.
Yeah.
I like that people wear
we're still up there,
as decades pass.
but not as much these days, for sure. We're much more open about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, for the last 20, 30 years. But 70s? Yeah, we're in it. Yeah, so I'm not surprised by that.
Well, then you got the whole angle of Evaristo and his quest for power and his, supposed, just hardcore practices, corporal punishment, practicing black magic. Does that have anything to do with it? Is this a top-down hallucination? Is this a?
I mean, I'd be interested to like see what kind of figure he was seen at the school. You mix the corporate punishment with the occult of any kind or religious of any kind. You can see like, and children are they're super impressionable.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh yes, definitely.
And on top of that, they're going through a lot of things, not just hormones and so many things. I can see them freaking out about that kind of thing and worry that their headmaster is an occultist of some kind. I wouldn't be surprised, and that could lead into a mass hallucination thing. Mass hallucination is basically like mob rule, right? But in a different way. Because when you get the blood up in a mob rule, right, in a mob setting, like everyone's doing.
I guess in a way, yeah.
Right, the first guy throws that first bottle.
Yeah, it's that group think, that mob mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, and it fires everyone up. You do that same thing with a group of dogs. Do you see that happening too?
Yeah. I think there's parallels between mass hallucination and like group think and mob rule.
Because we always, we can always say, oh yeah, mob rule, that's totally a thing. Everyone knows. That's a thing that can happen. Right? Yeah. That's why all the cops are worried when there's a protest.
Yeah.
Also, right?
Leave them alone.
And there's been examples in this country alone, which is not it's not an old country, guys.
Years,
yeah, where that happens.
I don't.
What other explanations are there in the internet, or do you have any other like possible explanations or theories?
I mean, the only other thing I could think of is, like you said, what was in the water?
Why?
And if the building is in disrepair and it's becoming dilapidated.
Right? Is there like rust in the water when the drinking fountains and shit? Yeah, right.
Knows, man. I mean, that's one thing they always talk about in paranormal investigations is black mold could cause hallucinations and visuals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Prolonged exposure to that stuff.
I've been watching this show called Evil.
Love it.
Oh, so I'm on season 2.
We're religious. Oh, yeah, we're.
Oh, I don't know how many seasons. I know there's a lot. I started watching it. I like binging it, kind of like in the background. It's really fun.
Great show. Yeah.
But that show does a lot of work. Tries to do a lot of work as show you the completely scientific explanation to things.
Right. Yeah.
And they do a lot of things. And that one guy, the tech guy, especially, like he's really good at least so far. He's been really good at being the Scully and explaining it away. Yeah. Like, nope, it's your dishwasher that makes that noise at night. Nope, it's the black mold in this thing.
That's right.
I was like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that could explain why it affected some group of the students.
Is the building still there? No, right?
No, the building's gone. The building is gone.
Can you imagine?
I have a picture of it.
It'd be cool to break in there.
Oh, man.
I mean, we're not going to, but...
Yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of is that there's something in the water. I don't know. Something in the atmosphere.
You know, I had another thought is that, okay, so who, Everesto General, did he, or not him personally, but he built that building? Or was it there already?
Oof, that I don't know.
I'd be curious to find out because when you were telling the story and you were describing a lot more about him, I'm like, okay, well, he's clearly a big part of it. I was thinking that this is like a Resident Evil kind of thing where like he built like an elaborate mansion and everyone in it like are part of something. It's like almost like 13 Ghosts too. That's a very like the building itself is part of the occult, right? That brings out the ghost. It's like, is it like a consecrated ground? Like is he fucking with everyone? Is it like built in such a way like the building again in Ghostbusters that's built to bring in Zool?
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. You think of that. I'm like, what kind of building is this?
That would
so
be
curious.
awesome if it was.
Right.
I did that on purpose. I don't know.
Not giving him too much credit, probably.
If it existed or if he had it built. That I don't know.
Yeah. Although I completely buy that Castro would from Cuba because he had a lot of influence in Florida.
Yeah.
A shit ton of influence. That he squashed all of his political reaches. I won't be surprised at all that he saw this motherfucker. He's like, you can stay in that fucking school. You're not getting any further than that. And every time he tried to raise money or whatever, he had his guy squash it. Now, could it be him? That could have been his influence. The political stuff led to this insanity. What happened in '79?
You mean as a
way to way to demean him, to sabotage him. So I was thinking about that one.
The students were patsies almost in that,
yeah,
in that case.
Right.
Yeah,
that's also slightly possible. I still buy the mass hysteria more, but that's possible. It should be said, I guess.
I really think there's something to be said about teenage angst.
Yes.
The paranormal, abuse.
I was a ball of frayed wires
power
at that
control,
age.
Headmaster.
Yeah.
And I think it could just be a powder keg.
Yeah.
And whether they actually summoned something knowingly or unknowingly, or it was just a mental break for a couple hours. I can't say which, but I could see it happen. I could see something like that exploding.
Yeah.
For sure.
The mental break, mass hallucination thing sounds like.
Especially you got the night before, they're partying and doing all this crazy... They're coming into school, they're scared, they're primed and ready to go, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know.
Would have been cool to have been on the ground floor there.
Yeah. It would have been cool to see that kid who got up off that second window.
Yes.
Got up off the ground. Was his eyes really glowing red? Did he really throw a teacher or throw the student, throw each other like rag dolls?
Right, like rag dolls. Like really superhuman thing, the breaking the doors off the hinges.
Right, yeah. I don't know. We'll never know, unfortunately.
No.
When you read that Facebook page, you're not figuring anything out. And it's so largely forgotten, too. Like, no one really knows about this one.
There can't be... I mean, it's gotta be students. They're adults now that remember.
Oh, they're on... Yeah, on that group.
Yeah, I know, but...
And why they don't talk about it, I don't know. Don't know.
Is that their version of Waco or Vietnam? Like they just try to forget it? Something horrible happened?
Could be.
You know? It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, it sucks. There's no answer. But it's also the 70s. Like it really... That era, man. I know it's 79. It's like, oh, it's so close to 80s. But it's the 70s. It sucks, man. There's no camera, no nothing. There's no way to...
No. Oh, my God. Could you imagine today there'd be videos everywhere of this stuff?
I would love to see that.
Yeah, but interesting story?
Yes, I never heard of this.
Yeah.
It's crazy that something like this happened.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I've been sitting on
It would make a cool movie.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you end it. You have to pick a reason. You have to make up your own.
Oh, I don't know. The trend today is, Hollywood's like, oh, make up your own mind, moviegoer. You lazy fucker.
Oh, no, a lot of movies do that.
I hate that. Give me an ending.
I like some of those. Some of those work. Some of those work well.
Bring me home.
You could do that right, but you're right. A lot of them don't do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could get away doing the Miami Aerospace Academy and just leave a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Lazy fucks. Makes me so angry.
Lazy fucks.
I took this 2-hour ride with you.
Yeah.
And
right.
You're just gonna leave me somewhere stranded? No, bring me home, man.
Bring me. Why did it happen? What's going on? Right.
Who are these people?
Right.
Well, that's what I got for the
Miami
Aerospace.
It was fun.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
I'm glad we did something supernatural. It's been a while.
It has.
I mean, we did. The last one was a little supernatural, but this one's a little more wheelhouse.
Yeah. The last one was more whimsical, kind of.
Right.
This one, supernatural. You're right.
Good.
It's been a while.
I like this one.
Good. I don't know what the next ones are going to be. We're going to have some more supernatural.
Stay tuned. I almost said previously. Next time on the SOS.
It's still not the name of our podcast.
What the hell is our show? It's not the SOS. What are we?
The Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
That's what SOS stands for.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay, you better be. Because am I getting this name wrong?
I can't remember if it was the last episode or the one before that where we made a joke when you said
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Well, I'm going to finish my whiskey. I don't know about you.
I'm about to.
Oscar, take us home.
Yeah, we have to get there. It's like The Bear.
Oh, we're watching the new season. It's such a good show. Like
Yeah.
I
just finished it last night.
Oh, you did? Is it good?
I liked it. Yes, I did.
Yeah, we're liking it so far.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. Nothing bad to say about it necessarily. I would say the third season is probably the worst. It's not the worst as in because they're all amazing. They're still amazing. It's just third place.
I get you. Yeah. I was reading an article the other day, and I don't remember if you remember last time we were here talking. We were talking about The Bear, and I said I believe it's based off Al's.
You said that, yes.
And I read an article. It did say
it is
Al's beef.
Nice.
Yeah, good show. Interview with a Vampire. Really good.
Oh, on AMC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't watched it?
No, I heard good things, but I haven't seen it. It's on HBO, right?
We watched it on AMC.
Oh, you have AMC Plus? Who has AMC Plus?
I don't even remember.
Who the fuck has that?
Someone has it. We got it.
I've never met a person that had it.
We pay for our own Netflix and Hulu now.
I thought you did already.
No.
What were you using?
Severos.
Oh yeah, but now they locked down that stuff.
Yeah, they made it a lot more difficult.
For Netflix anyway.
And Severo's been caught before. He had to pay a big fine for you ever heard about this?
No.
The fucking cobbler.
The Adam Sandler movie?
That piece of shit movie.
I never seen it. It looked terrible.
I think it was like $5,000 or $6,000 he had to pay.
What?
Because he downloaded it and he was caught by his internet service provider, by Comcast. This was years ago.
Obviously.
Whenever the
cobbler came out.
Yeah, he was caught for the fucking cobbler.
Huh.
So when Netflix started getting a little iffy, I didn't want anything to happen to him, so we just fine, we'll pay the $8 a month, fuckers.
It's more than that.
I don't even know what it is.
It's like that's the highest one right now.
Netflix is?
I think so.
Wow.
I don't know. Roth pays it.
Oh, you use it?
Well, we all share a bunch of people.
Everyone fucking does. Dude.
Yeah. We all share a lot. Like between Roth and me, he has like 3 or 4. I have my own 2 or 3 that I pay for that he has access to.
I use your Shudder.
Right, your Shudder is a big one. Everyone loves the Shudder.
Do you have Hulu?
I do, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, you could use our Hulu.
I do have Hulu. Oh, yeah, we have nearly everything. I don't have Peacock. That's the one I had last year, and I canceled it.
We have it. Don't know where we're getting it from, but Katie got it in there.
It's probably
somehow.
from some deal.
I know, like
Spotify and that, or because Italia has it. They always combine things.
Oh, speaking of Spotify, did I tell you Tali got the job?
Yes, so you did. I was here, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she got the job at Starbucks. They give her a free premium version of Spotify.
Yeah, they do. I had one when I was working there.
That's so cool. Like, just little things like that. She's like, I don't have to pay that $18 a month.
She also could do the BetterHelp. No, it's not a different one. There's like a lot of sites you can use for free. Skechers, you get like 60% off on shoes or something.
Really?
Yeah, but you have to go to actual Skechers.
I know today they went out, Katie and Talia and her friends here from out of town, and they went to Starbucks, and Talia's like, I work here. Yeah, I work for Starbucks. And she got almost like $10 off the order, and she felt so great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like the little Spotify thing, now she could save, I think.
She's a white girl. She's definitely in love it. 100%.
But she gets to save like $18 a month. To her, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to save $18 a month for Spotify, whatever it is.
Is that how much it is? Damn.
I don't pay for mine. Someone else pays for mine.
But you were paying for whatever was paying for it was paying for hers too. Right?
No, Talia, she would put it on her Apple account.
Got it.
I think she did it through Apple. Yeah, because she got bit a couple times.
Yeah,
she didn't have the money in there. Then it bounced, and then it
happens.
Kids learn. They learn. But just a bunch of benefits through Starbucks. It was, I'm proud for her.
Yeah,
I'm really proud.
They have a lot of deals.
Yeah,
I think me too. Honestly.
Yeah. So it's just funny. It's funny. But anyway, sorry, I rambled.
No, it's fine. It makes great outtakes.
Oh, true. I didn't listen to the outtakes, all the outtakes from the
first one. It was a lot of them. I cut it down on the second one.
On the Dream.
Yes,
the Dream guy. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna try to listen to him tonight.
I just accidentally put so much in there. I basically put not all, but most of our Game of Thrones talk.
Oh, really? Oh, Game of Thrones. Did you watch it?
Fuck yes.
House of Dragon?
Yeah, the Red Dragon and the Gold.
Dude. I didn't realize how big is it Syraxis? Is that how you say it?
Vhagar.
Aemon drives Vhagar?
Yes.
Oh, so Vhagar's the biggest.
Vhagar is the biggest.
Okay.
He has the biggest.
What,
and Maelys was so badass, though.
And that was the one that Corlys was on?
No, Rhaenys was on. Corlys is her husband.
The last name is Corlys.
Oh, right. What's his first name?
I can't remember her first name.
I've been calling him Corlys as a first name. Okay, I got that wrong.
No, their last name is
Rhaenys. Rhaenys is her name. Maelys is her dragon, the red dragon.
And then Sunfire.
Sunfire is Aegon's.
Aegon's, yeah.
Yeah, lesser.
Oh, but it was sad.
You know, in the book, it's supposed to have golden fire.
Really?
They didn't put golden fire. I was like, oh, I kind of want to see that. But that was cool, though. It's a cool battle.
They must have some big budgets, man.
Oh, they have a lot of, yes.
Massive budgets to do. When Vhagar came... When you finally saw it, well, first of all, when he came up out of the forest.
Yes. And he was like, dude, slow your roll. And it goes,
yeah.
Right.
But just the moss hanging off him and shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
Let's do this. But then when he first came sailing across the sky, man, you're like, there's no way any of these guys stand a chance, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, for a second, Maelys looked like, because Maelys is also considered to be the, not anymore, but the fastest dragon in that era.
Oh, okay.
So you think that, you can, if you hit the underside right, and as soon as it turns away, you can actually hightail it back to Dragonstone. I mean, you already got the king, right?
True, yeah.
Right? You could, but no, I think she, I'm not saying had a death wish, but maybe a little bit, and decided to stay instead of run. And then Vhagar came out of nowhere.
God. And then when they're blowing fire on each other.
Yeah, if you have favorite characters, a lot of them are going to die.
Don't get used to anybody.
Don't get used to anybody.
There was a lot of good stuff that happened in that episode, man.
Do you think? What do you think is happening with Daemon? The dreams.
Oh, right, because
he's in Harrenhal.
Yeah, the ghost of Harrenhal.
A lot of people are saying it could be the ghost of Harrenhal, right? Or it could be Children of the Forest, because Harrenhal, Harren the Black, the guy who built Harrenhal when it was before burnt. He cut down a lot of weirwood trees.
Right, and wasn't his... did I read this somewhere? His bed that he was sleeping in was made out of weirwood or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and it was on the grove.
And in one of his visions, and I don't know if it's in the castle or not, I'm not 100%, there was a giant weirwood tree there, and in his first vision, the episode before. And and then also there's that Maester Witch lady, the Rivers girl.
Now, yeah.
Who... some people are saying that it's Melisandre when she was young.
No.
Because Melisandre's really old.
Right.
Like,
this is when that wasn't when the necklace is gone. She's
right.
clone.
Yeah, but like super old. She's like 100 years old. It could be from this era. We don't know. I don't know the answer to that, by the way. That's not in the book.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. Or if she's not, she could be a witch with different ulterior motives that we don't know. Maybe giving Damon like food that's making him, having these visions and stuff. We don't know.
Yeah, because
for good or ill, we don't know. Yeah,
she did give him something.
Yeah, she did.
I mean, blatantly.
People online were saying that it looks just like the substance that Bran took in Game of Thrones. I forgot what scene, but it was relating to his visions.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh fuck! Dude, people get so deep into this.
I know. That's why they do the work for me. I just go read what they.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, what do I need?
Yeah. So and wasn't Harrenhal like the biggest?
It's still like considered to be the biggest stronghold. It's just useless because Aegon the Conqueror came in with the Black Dread, the dragon he had. Big ass fucking dragon. That puts Vhagar to shame, maybe, or on the same size, maybe. And came in and he sees this impenetrable fortress, which is awesome at the time, and he just burns the whole thing. Damn. Like they burn him alive, and so everyone's burnt alive in there. That's why it looks like that. He just burns from above and just burn everything down.
Very cool. It's very cool.
And that became the curse. Like, no one can hold that place anymore. Everyone who tries dies. I mean, the Strongs died in the big fire last year. Now, that wasn't like fate. It was done on purpose, but like, a lot of death there.
Right. Which they say that's why all the ghosts are there or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rhaenyra. Love her.
Yeah, she's getting into it now.
Yeah. She's great.
Imagine if she had gone instead of Rhaenys, because Rhaenys volunteered.
She wanted to.
Yeah.
She wanted to. They convinced her not to.
Yeah.
And of course, what's Alicent? Right?
Yes.
She drank the little abortion
milk
drink.
of the pop. No, not milk of the poppy. The moon tea.
Moon tea, right? Yeah,
the moon tea.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she, kind of hypocritical.
A little bit.
And her suitor is out there on the road.
What's the name again? Cole?
Kristen Cole?
Kristen Cole.
Kristen Cole.
Yeah, you're right.
He's out there.
He had a sound plan if Aegon hadn't, trumped in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aegon did. He got drunk and
Aemon took advantage, too. I mean...
Man, so what do you think about that? Do you think Aegon's dead?
Well, I know the truth. Do you want me to tell you the truth? No. Okay.
Because it sure looked like Aemond was going in for the kill. Okay, what do you think?
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. Jay, if those listening to the outtakes, you just snorted a line.
Dude, why am I busting rails in my basement? Whiskey and cocaine.
Yep.
That's a Johnny Cash song. Cocaine Blues.
Cocaine Blues. I was going to say, that's not called Whiskey and Cocaine. I was trying to think of the title. That's not one of his titles. Okay. You ready for the countdown?
Yeah, because we could uncork and pour. Yeah, while we're drinking. Fuck that, dude.